Well, I saw this card. I really liked it this week, and when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's perfect for Pop-Up Card Studio. So I thought I'd show you how to do it. It's a quick, simple thing. It could be used as here. It's a happy birthday card, but it could also be used for any occasion. It could be a Mother's Day card, a graduate, special awards, or a thank you card for teachers, or whatever. And so I'm going to go to Pop-Up Card Studio and show you what it looks like there, and then I will go ahead and reconstruct this. So I'm going to click on New in Pop-Up Card Studio, and I'm making the width of this 6 inches and the height 5 inches. So this is the width, 6 and 5 up. It will take a full 10-inch wide card to finish the project, but we enter in the dimensions of the face of the card in Pop-Up Card Studio. So the first thing I want to do is add some squares. To find the squares, I click on the heart on the library, which opens, and then polygons, and I'll double click on square. Now I have to decide where I want it, because the default position is at 1 inch, and I know I don't want it at 1 inch. So what I'm going to do is use Control X to cut that, and then I'm going to move this platform into about 2 inches. I need this where it belongs. I'm going to put 2 inches in position. So that brings the plane out 2 inches from the back of the card. And then I'm going to use Control V, after I click the arrow, Control V, to add that square back on. And I would like the snapping to be at 1/2 inch for this card. That'll help me place everything accurately. I want to resize that square to 2 inches wide, so type 2 and press Enter. And for the height, I want this to fold back, and I want the block to be 2 inches. So that means I need to make the height 4 inches. And then press Enter. So I'm going to push it up here, and then use this down arrow to push it firmly against the bottom of the card. And I need another one just like it, so I use Control Shift and drag, and just drag off another. I'll move it up and push it down just to make sure that it's firm on the bottom. Now the one that goes in the middle is shorter, but it's out 1/2 inch. So what I want to do is copy this one, Control C, copy, and before I leave this plane, I'm going to hold a Shift and select both of these and click on this fold icon, or Control plus I, to fold them back. What that did was it folded them back to the back of the card. So that's what we have. We really only have 3 pieces, well, 4 pieces to this card, so we've got half of it done already. Everybody should try this, because it is a lot of fun to play with, and I love pop-up cards because they have a wow factor. For the next one, I need to have a position of 2.5. I'm going to move it forward just a little bit, as you see here. So it's going to stick out a little bit, and I'm going to use Control V to paste that same shape in, but I don't need it to be 4 inches tall. I need it's going to go back 2.5 inches, and then it has a leg here of 1/2 inch, so I need it to be 3 inches tall. Press Enter, and we'll slide it down to the bottom, and then we'll fold it back. And we want it to go all the way back and accept. So let's look and see how it is now. And we only have one more piece to add, but it's going to be added on the other side of the card. So to get there, I press the space bar. And I'm going to put this up at a 2.5, I believe. Yeah. So that it's a ½ inch higher than these boxes. And I'm going to again use Control plus V and move it to the center. I'm going to pull it forward and then use that arrow to take it down to the bottom of the card. And right now it's 4 inches high. I don't need it to be 4 inches high. I need it to go down just to meet this platform here. And I think that's 2.5. We'll check it out. Oops. I want the width 2 and I want the height 2.5, I think. Press enter. So you see that piece there. And now I'm going to fold it back and have it go down to the layer. Let's see if we've got it. So looking at the card sideways, we can put the grid on the bottom so we can see easier. Of the card the way we want it to look. Now I'm going to go to print preview just to make sure all the lines are connected the way they should be. So we have red lines for all the valleys and mountains, and I don't see any problem with that, so that I think we're ready to save this. Now I don't have any idea what they would call this kind of card. Does anybody know? But it's a pop-up card and you can make it however you want. So I'm going to go to File and Save As and just call it Pop-Up Steps. I just called it Pop-Up Steps card. Put my initials on it, and we can look at a virtual snapshot of it. Click on Preview, and it'll give us a picture of what it'll look like when it's cut out. Looks pretty good. So the next thing I do is go to File, Export, Project Rendering as SVG, or to the machine. If I'm going to cut to my Zing or my Gazelle or my Cameo, I would send it to the machine here. Otherwise, I send it to SVG, and it'll just save with the same name. Let me see, where do I want to save it? I'll put it on my desktop so I can find it easy. Now the other thing that we'll notice in the pictures here is that they had a bunch of layers on each of the pieces. So we can export the layers and work with those in Make the Cut or in other software that it goes to. So to get those, we go to File, Export, and Project Shapes. And I'll save the project shapes as SVG, and it'll give it the same name, but add the word shapes to it. So we know that we can find it. Now if I go to Make the Cut and open a new page, we can click on the SVG icon and go to my desktop to find the card and the shapes. This is the card. So double click to bring that in. And I'll change the color a little bit so we can see the lines. So that's the basic card, and it's set to have dashes. If you want to put them on their own layers, you right click on the layer and to select to each its own, and that puts all the score lines on a different layer. So if we hide the card, we see the score lines. Now if you would rather use an engraving tool like I like to use, then you would go click on the color box on these scoreline layers and check line style, and right now they're dashed. I would say no dashes, and I would do the same thing to the other ones and make them no dashes. So then we have solid lines for the score line. So you could do it either way. If you want the dashes, create new line style. I like to give mine a little more spacing. But on pop-up cards, those score lines for me tend to weaken the junctions. This doesn't have a lot of detail, so it'll be okay. So while I'm working on the card, I can hide those score lines, and I might even want to put all the score lines on the same layer, but for now they'll work fine. Now to get the pieces in, the layers, I would click on SVG again and go to my desktop and look for the shapes. So I bring those in. We have different shapes, and all these shapes can go to the different places on the card, but you'll know that notice that they're perfect fits. And what we really need to do is do a shadow layer, because we can make an outside card for this simply by clicking on it and clicking shadow, and say we want the shadow maybe to be 0.08 and blacked out. And now we have a card backing that can be another color. So maybe I would make that, oh, let's say purple. And so I have a backing and I have the main card, and now I have all these pieces. And the card that I saw, I think the reason I liked it so well is because it had all of those nice contrasting layers. If I select all of these and I click on the shadow layer, I can make these inset shadows by typing in minus point, and maybe my inset would be, maybe it would be 08 also. You can kind of get an idea here what it would look like, and then click on accept.